skeptical, and I was wrong, and you did a really good job. But the things that you've done, blocking people on Twitter for no reason, which is not a big deal, but then blocking people on Twitter that ask you to stop using assets that you've used, that they own, that's a big deal. Comments about age of consent being emotional or mental maturity,
That's a little
that's
interesting.
Absolutely insane. And this makes you seem completely untrustworthy. If you can't take a joke, if you can't actually have any kind of conversation with people without blocking them, without silencing any form of criticism, and if the mechanics by which you're using seem predatory in nature, you don't seem trustworthy. And that is the problem when you are literally operating on a system that requires people to trust you. I'm not saying you won't be able to make money from this, which seems to always be the crypto bros ethos. If you can make money, it's fine. It's not a problem. That isn't my point. I'm open to having a conversation with these people and seeing where I'm wrong and seeing if they can address criticisms without trying to silence it. But I won't hold my breath. I'll let you know how it goes. And I imagine we'll be keeping up with Crypto Land as things move forward. But they have said in their Discord that they will be looking into how they can deal with this because they believe this is a targeted attack. So yet again, more people in the cryptocurrency space or the metaverse space that believe any opinion that is against theirs is hatred and an attack from some shadowy figure, and not just the fact that other people can have different opinions. But there we go. Welcome to the metaverse. Welcome to Crypto Land. I'm an island boy. Let's be an island boy. 1.5 mil. Crowdfund me, guys. Let's buy a plot of land and we'll move in and go to the moon. Yeah. Thank you very much for watching as always. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Leave a like, leave a comment. Let me know what you think. And I'll see you in the metaverse, baby.
What I've also found to be like so surprising about this whole thing is how just absolutely completely unoriginal it is. Like if you look at the island, every single house looks exactly the same. And if you look at like all these the NFT art and everything like that, it's just one image that's just slightly altered 100 different times. It's like there's no originality, there's no creativity in this. It's just we're gonna copy paste the same thing over and over and over. Yeah, it's like a suburb on an island. Yeah, that's a good way to look at it. I think it's a really good metaphor for how interesting these people are too. It's really funny to see this happen and to see people buy into this stuff, but it does make me mad that people can be this stupid. But I mean, we're living in a new world, boys. I'm telling you that, man. Like it's just like the stuff with GameStop and AMC and everything like that. Is everybody wants to be the person that makes all that money. Everybody wants to be the guy that is rich because they're smart without having to work for it. That is the American dream. That is what everybody in the Western world wants. That's why the top the top jobs that people want to have here in America, kids want to have, it's not a doctor, it's not an astronaut, it's not a scientist. It's a YouTube influencer. It is a social media influencer. This is what people want. And why do they want that as streamer? Yeah, there you go. Why is that? Because they perceive it to be a very prestigious and, you know, like cool job that is easy to them, right? They think that it's super easy, and so that's why they do it. Everybody knows being a doctor is hard. Everybody knows being an astronaut is hard. But if you're just a YouTube person, you're just making videos, yeah, of course it's more complicated than that, but it's not harder than being a fucking astronaut. And that's the reason. It's the social status. People are so they're so status conscious now. I think social media has made people way more status conscious than they used to be. And you see this all the time. Everybody is judged across these different metrics. Everybody has like different matrices that they are evaluated on and judged on and then placed in the pecking order for. It's crazy, man. It really is. Watch the new League cinematics? Shut the fuck up. How about that? How about shut the fuck up? Let's go ahead and watch this one right here. Let me link this video too. I forgot to link the video. Give me 1 second. Let me go ahead and do that. There we go. And that should be it. It's funny because my grandma cares more of her social status and the whole family does add it together. I think that young kids, especially now that like social media is like a very prevalent thing and everything like that, young kids are very socially conscious, because I think a big difference of it is that there's not like there's a lot of components to like why kids are more socially conscious now. Now, I think that a lot of it is like back in the day, like you would have like a religion or something like that, or like a societal fabric that somebody could fit into, and then they could be part of that societal fabric and gain some form of self-worth through that. But now we don't really have that anymore. So you have people that just get attached to social media, they get attached to other people liking them, and they don't have a North Star for their values as much. They don't have and if they do have a North Star, it's always changing, it's always moving. And there are some positives, and this is something that I know some people might disagree with me on, but I do think that it's true. There are some positives to having a very old religion in a way, because that type of thing gives somebody a way that they can just look at that thing and say, like, this is what gives my life value. This is what matters. I'm not saying it's necessary. I'm not saying it's even really good, but the purpose that it serves is positive in that regard. And it orders people's lives. I think that's what it is. And now you don't really have that same ordering of people's lives. And so now the ordering of your life is then given to the individual. How does the individual order their life? And some people do it in a very healthy and a very good way, but there's a lot of young people. I mean, like, I think especially for like imagine if you're like a 12 or 13-year-old girl right now. Like, imagine going on Instagram and seeing all of these Instagram models that have, 9 different plastic surgeries and 3 different editors before they post a picture, seeing a picture of this girl, knowing you'll never look like her, and then hating yourself because the only reason why people look at pictures like that is because if a girl's hot or not. And it's like you're judged so strongly on that at school and by your friends, by boys, everything like that. I'm sure you're fucking suicidal after that, because you're not old. You're old enough to know that you're not going to look like that, but you're still young and naive enough to not understand why. And it's the same thing with guys too. And this is not like, I think girls, it's much more the case because girls are judged, I think, more harshly on their appearance than men are in general in society. And but guys, it's the same thing. It's just a little bit different. It's like you don't have all this money. It's like these guys have a lot of these different advantages. And a lot of guys don't realize it's like, wow, well, yeah, this guy got a huge advantage because his dad owns the company, or he got a huge advantage because of something that really had nothing to do with him. And a young person, especially like, preteen, mid-teens or so, is still too naive to really understand all the parts that fit into that. And because of that, they get depressed and they resent the world, they resent themselves, they resent their society, etc., because they're being shown a perspective that doesn't exist. So I see this gym rat influencers. Well, yeah, it's like you have to work out, and if you don't, you're a loser, etc. And remember, it's acceptable to be rude and condescending to other people now because clout chasing is truly a thing. I think that's definitely true. Sometimes it is. It's easy to have a tainted view on the term successful if you base it on what works in social media. Yeah, I think that's true too. And everybody should work out. Yeah, you should work out, but if you're not fit and you don't have a six-pack, it doesn't mean that you're a loser or that you're like inferior or something like that. Most extremely successful people are probably not that fit or don't work out that much, right? They don't look like an Instagram influencer for a gym because they're too busy working to have the time for that. Now, obviously, it's important to be healthy. Of course it is. And I think that you should want to be healthy. But it's a big difference between being healthy and being like a, amateur bodybuilder level, right? And that's all I'm really saying. Wake up at 5 a.m., run 100 miles or do yoga or else you're a loser. Yeah, it's something like that. And I see this stuff all the time. It's really disappointing. And I don't really know what the solution for it is. There's a big part of me, I always ask myself, like, is it a good idea for people who are under the age of 18 to have social media? Like, is it healthy for a kid to have social media? And I think back to, like, my experience and, like, what it was like for me with, like, because I had MySpace, I was, like, 14 or so. And like, I loved MySpace. It was really cool. I had a good time. I didn't really have a lot of the same experiences that other people did, but I also was very lucky growing up because I had, a family around me, and I had like all my friends. I had my own sense of self-worth. And I think especially for somebody who's much more of a blank slate, doesn't really have a North Star, as I said before, not that I really had a North Star, but I had a sense of self-worth. It becomes much more dangerous for a person like that. And it makes it very hard for me to say that, yeah, this is definitely what it should be for people. Because I don't think so. I think that it's a very harmful experience for a lot of kids. A lot of things aren't healthy, but freedom trumps most things there. True, but we're talking about kids. And whenever you're talking about people that are underage, people that are under 18, it's a different conversation than an adult, right? And I'm not talking about adults. I'm talking about like would I want to have, like, if I had a daughter, if I had a son, would I want them being on social media at age 11? Answer is probably no. Probably fucking not. And it's weird because, like, I would want them to have that because I got something out of it, and I'd want them to not just be, like, at a disadvantage in the world, because this is how the world works. And so the earlier that you're able to interface with the world, I think in a lot of ways the better. But at the same time, there's just so many fucking negatives. Like, is it really justified? It's hard to say. It's a really, really hard way to, it's a hard decision to make. And I don't know. I think it, for many people, it is a simple answer, but I don't really know if that's the best answer. So the pendulum swings back from social media and this fucked up environment we're in. And I think, well, this is the point, right? I mean, this all comes back to like the cryptocurrency and like the crypto land stuff, etc. Is that the people that are products of being raised on social media are the ones that are buying into this. They're the ones that are buying into this. These are the same people that have been trained to be uber status conscious. These are the same people who are fixated on having, X, Y, or Z thing, or we're all going to make it. Yeah. And like all of these different phrases that people use to make themselves feel like they're, more special than what they are, or more unique, or whatever. Can't clean your room? What do you know about kids? I don't know a damn thing. I'm just talking. You don't even have a stream. What the hell do you know about talking? Yeah, what about that, huh? Yeah, shut the fuck up. I'm saying what I'm saying. And if you agree with me, then cool. If you don't, then don't. That's the thing, is like almost nobody really has any credibility to talk about any of this shit. Like, what the fuck does any of us know about it? It's all just, is it true to you or not? And that's how it goes. I don't agree, but I enjoy listening to your perspectives and thoughts. Yeah, a lot of people think that. Yeah, for sure. That's anything in life. That's what convos are for. Yeah, exactly. Nobody's got credibility. Yeah, there's very few things that credibility and, like, some stamp of approval means. Like, I can clean up my room. Does that mean that I know more about it whenever my room's clean? Not really. No, it doesn't. It's just, it's illogical. It's somebody that's hearing something they don't want to hear, and they're coming up with a reason for why they don't have to. There's me right there, and then there's Jeff behind me, and then there's a roach in my bathtub. Bro, dude, Wrath of the Lich King was lit. December 10th, 2008. I like the shirt a lot, and I wear it a lot. What can I say? I finally convinced Cora to server transfer over, and I brought her over with me. You guys don't remember her? Really? And today, I will begin the Wrath of the Lich King screenshot stream. On that day, on that night, in 2008, the night that Wrath of the Lich King was released, I had $4 in my name, and I spent 2 of it on a drink. Guys, I had just finished the Burning Crusade. I want to get everybody caught up. At that time, I had joined the best guild on the server. That guild I had wanted to be a part of since before I even hit level 60 in vanilla WoW. I worked my way up through the ranks all throughout Burning Crusade, and I finally landed myself a slot in that guild at the end of the expansion. The guild lost the server first kill. Alliance first, actually, I believe. Alliance first kill of Brutalis. We came back that night and we killed it. And I was in that raid. It was the first raid I was ever in for the guild. At that time, I became part of the actual core membership of the guild. And I knew that at that point, I was going to be part of the raid and part of the guild fully in Wrath of the Lich King. And I fully intended to make that happen. I had joined the best guild, and I was ready, excited, and prepared. I had graduated high school. I was taking one class at community college. The stage was set for greatness. The stage was set for degeneracy. I was living with my mother. I had no girlfriend, no job. I was hardly going to school, and my life had never been better. I was so happy. And so a young Asmongold, on that night at 2 in the morning, I went forward and I took the ship over to Borean Tundra. And you know what? I wasn't alone. Many other people were around with me, and we were all sitting there waiting, ready, excited, and happy for our first chance to go over to Northrend. And I want you to understand something. Many of you guys might not really appreciate this. You might not understand this. But back then, every single player at that time had almost played Warcraft 3. The fact that the Lich King was coming out was monumental. It was massive. It was the one thing that everybody was waiting for. My friend Zach called me on the phone. I was vacationing. I was over at visiting family out of state. And he called me and he said, "Did you see it?" And I said, "No." And he showed me the Wrath of the Lich King cinematic. It was what I had been waiting for ever since the end of Warcraft 3. And today was the day that it began. I waited for the boat, and I got on the boat with the rest of my team and the rest of the people on my server, on Thrall server, on the US. And as you see, one thing that happened, I want to make sure one thing is clear. Driven is Overdose. We had to reform the guild because the guild master quit the game, and we were not able to recover the name from the guild master. It's stupid, but there it is. And I went for the first time, standing on the boat, leading the charge over to Borean Tundra. In my full brutal gladiator gear, minus the shoulders. I was Fury Spect. I was ready. I was prepared to mine cobalt. Because back then, I didn't have a bunch of people giving me gold. Back then, I had to earn it on my own. Back then, it was the hard times. But I knew, because I remember back at the beginning of Burning Crusade, how expensive adamantite and corium was, that the first thing that I did every single time is I mined as many nodes as I possibly could. And I also did the quests as well. I went through them, and my character was big dick enough to solo some of the elite quests all by myself. As you guys remember, whenever we left off, I had some of the best gear in the game. And so I took that best gear in the game into Wrath of the Lich King, and I kept it for quite a while. I was leveling up. I was helping the mammoths. I was doing all of the quests. This was the first time I had ever been on a vehicle like this before. It was incredible to even consider this would even be a possibility. And I did everything that I needed to do. I mined the rich cobalt nodes. And back then you had to click them over and over and over. And as you guys could see, as time went on, I was flying around. That was my first time ever flying on a dragon like that as well. So later on, I would have that mount. But right now, I just had a chance to do it on my character. I was flying around. Everybody was just happy. People were so glad. The world was totally new. Everything was different. We had never experienced something like this before. It was completely different than any of the other areas that were in the game. And as time went on, I finally reached level 71. And my mom was downstairs. Cody and Jeff were probably at their house, or they could have been landing out at my house. And it was 5 in the morning. 6 in the morning, as you guys can see. And I was playing the game. I had to go to class in a few hours. And I said, fuck it. I'm not even going to sleep. I'm just going to play the game until I have to go. I started doing it. Everybody was playing. Yep, 5:57 in the morning. That's right. And it didn't matter to me because I was ready to play and I was ready to do what I needed to do. I kept leveling and I kept playing with my guild as well. And it took a little bit of time. I do want to say, obviously, my Wrath of the Lich King story, it was a lot of it at the very beginning. It took a lot of time for me to get leveled up. I was a little bit slow with it. But eventually, I did get up to level 80. You went to class? Yeah, I did go to class. It was the final. I had to go to class because it was the final. And at the very beginning, I was leveling all by myself. My guild was all doing their own things, and we had one person, we had one player who was going to take their shot at getting the realm first level 80. And I remember that person was Inu. That person was the same guy, the same hunter that won the Nerubian Slave Maker at the end of the Burning Crusade screenshot stream. It was that guy that got the server first level 70. He got level 70 so fast in Burning Crusade, I never told him this, but I actually filed a ticket on him because I thought that he was cheating. I was like, there's no way he can get 70 like that. I'm only 61. Like, there's no way. I literally reported my own guildmate. Like, he wasn't my guildmate at the time, but I reported the guy. I thought he was genuinely fucking cheating because nobody else was even like 67. This dude blew everybody out of the fucking water. And so Inu was going again for server first. And this time, there were actual achievements that you were able to get for getting server first. So I kept leveling. I got my little Murloc costume as well. I was happy about that. It was fun. And I also did the dungeons as well. I enjoyed a lot of the dungeons that Wrath of the Lich King had to offer. The Nexus was great. A lot of the other ones were great. And I want to go ahead and zoom in on some of the names that you guys are going to see here because you're going to have to keep track of these people. Spoiled was a Warlock. He was a very good player. I didn't really know him very well. Atheist was a prop Paladin. He was the one that tanked, I believe, my bear run. And he played with me every single day. ST Pally still raids with me to this day in Classic World of Warcraft. And Sadrin... Sadrin was he's a good guy. He was a good guy. But there was one other one. Rufian. Rufian is not in this picture. But Rufian, he and I had a little bit of a... We didn't see eye to eye. What happened? No, everybody here is alive as far as I know. Rufian was a piece of shit. And I remember back in Burning Crusade, at the end of Burning Crusade, Rufian told me, he said, I'm not going to let you roll on Dragonspine Trophy because you're not a real raider. I remembered that. And I never forget. We'll get back to that. I kept leveling. I got up to 60, 72. I was doing my own thing. I was doing what I needed to do. And I figured I'd add this screenshot in just so you could see. That was what my / playtime was all the way back then whenever Wrath of the Lich King came out. Only 169 days. At this point, my mom had a higher / played than I did. It was a good time. I enjoyed myself. My mom had she probably had like 250 days / played at that point. I'm not even kidding. I don't even know how it was possible. She was leveling. And then also we have more people in here. This is some more guys. Nax Ramus. This was a mage in our guild. The rest of the people were just random idiots that we were playing with. And everybody was cheering on Inu. Inu was going as far as he possibly could to get to level 80 as a server first. I want to see him do it. People were staying up because we were excited to see him hit the server. Hit the server first. That was the way the game used to be. And there we are right there, looking at Anubarak for the first time. A lot of the people there in Illusion, that was the guild that was our rival. Die in a Fire was a terrible guild. I once called Die in a Fire the brown standard of guilds on the server forums because I told people that if Die in a Fire could kill a boss, the boss was easy. And then it was me and Nax Ramus in our guild as well. I was an asshole. And I also wanted to show this screenshot as well. To show you guys that Blizzard not having things being finished is nothing new. This is not a change of pace for Blizzard. This is just business as usual. Keep it in mind. This is what it always was. And there it was. On that night, I logged off. I believe it could have been the day after. I don't really quite remember. And there I was. Asmongold, level 73 warrior in my full Brutal Gladiator gear with all the settings turned all the way down to low because I was still playing on my mother's HP computer that she bought for me in 2004. Those are my old original characters. El Banco, Crack Monkey, Zack the Paladin, Sneaky McStab, Zack Rar, and Ol Cock and Balls. We'll get back to Ol Cock and Balls later on in the story. I saw this different quest. It was the first time that it showed my character. It was future me. And I thought to myself, that is going to be future me. I'm going to have that hair in real life. It's going to be great. I was excited for it. That was a long time ago. I had almost 10,000 gold as well. And there's Rixa. Rixa was the best rogue in our guild. He was fully Sunwell geared. He had both of the Warglaives of Azeroth. He was the first player in our guild to receive them. Rixa had a big dick. He was one of the best players in the guild. And across every single tier that we rated, Rixa was the top performing rogue no matter what. He was the rogue. Yes, he had DST. He had everything that he needed to have. Clearly photoshopped? Clearly not. This is just a typical dungeon with me playing. I want to go ahead and zoom in on the damage meter here and talk about that for a minute. So basically what you can see here is me doing top damage. And I want to see, this is very common. Very common. Yeah, I'll be number one or close to number one. I was a god, and everybody knew it. And everybody was happy about it, and that's why they were playing with me. And I had just hit level 74 as well. I was playing with Sagerin and all the boys, man. That shaman I played with all the time as well. At level 74 or 75 or somewhere around there. Inu was on the home stretch. The last final part of his level 80 server first grind. And he asked for people to come and help him with the Amphitheater of Anguish. Even if we couldn't do the quest. Because it was really good experience. And he wanted to be able to do it so he could go for his chance to get server first. I took my time out of my leveling. Everybody. Rixa took his time out of his leveling. Drainy took his time out of his leveling. He was one of the officers of the guild at that time. And we came and made our way to help Inu and help him go for server first. He was 79 already on the second day. I leveled over in Grizzly Hills as well. I finally hit 75. He was 79 already. And I don't have the screenshot, but I'm sure some people were wondering. There was a mage, an undead mage. I think his name was Geist or something like that. It's been a long time. And with the combined help of 3 other people helping him mob tag and spam healing him while he was AoE grinding, just narrowly beat Inu to level 80, realm first. They stole it from Inu. But they could only do that when there was 3 of them against just 1 of him. He actually got boosted. Ascent was an incredible guild full of amazing players. But Inu should have gotten the server first. I played this other quest as well. I thought the quests were just fucking amazing. At this point, I had never played a game like this. The experience was totally new. It was incredible. And I enjoyed it a lot. It was amazing. I screenshotted every level that I got, pretty much. And here's 77 as well. And I was making my way up. And at 77, I was able to get my cold weather flying. I had already obtained a lot of gold. I had 13,000 gold going into Wrath of the Lich King. And I got my cold weather flying. And for the first time, I flew in Northrend. I flew around the world. I looked at it from a different perspective. And I saw Icecrown for the first time. The elite fucking level 83 dragons that were flying around. And I'll be honest, I was scared. But that wasn't going to stop me from my goal. And what was that goal? That goal was titanium. And while many other people sat around and they tried to farm all the other little bits of bullshit and level up fast, I said to them, fuck you. I'm going to make some goddamn money. And I stopped leveling for a whole day. And all I did was farm out titanium ore to get as much possible amount of it, because I had looked up on MMO Champion back then, and I knew that I needed titanium to make the epic gear at level 80. And I was the only one out there in Ice Crown on that second day of the game. And I got a lot. Of titanium, boys. And as time went on, I went in there with my boys. Your Envy. He was our guild master at the time. Analog was an incredible shaman healer. I've still talked to her every once in a while. Namani, I'm still friends with as well. She was another healer. And Rixa as well in the background. We went into Utgard Pinnacle, I believe that's the dungeon that we're at then. And we farmed all of them. And with our very good gear, it was quite easy. We were already better at the game. And as you can see here, we ran this game. We were the pimps of the server. As you guys can see, everybody's got on their big dick mounts. And they were ready to go into Calling of Strathlum as well. We did what we needed to do. And I did what I needed to do, and I tanked the dungeons. I always viewed myself as a warrior. Not an arms warrior, not a fury warrior, not a prot warrior, but a warrior. I did the job that needed to be done, whatever it was. And to be honest, playing a prot warrior back in Wrath of the Lich King was pretty fucking fun. As time went on, where is it here? I've got to go ahead and find it. There's a lot of these different things. Oh, I made this picture too. I made this picture reminding people that you're in the best guild on the server, just elitist things. So I used to make a lot of memes back in the day. It was one thing. I was a real big memer. I loved memeing. And so I did this all the time. I really enjoyed it, and this was pretty much what I used to do. I want to go ahead and give you an idea of the kind of person that I was at this time. Here's a picture of a young Asmongold. As you can see. As you can see right here. I was ready for action. I was dangerous. Yeah. That was me back in the day. Back in the day, I did have hair. I've got a few other pictures as well. Let me see. I got this one too. This was whenever my dad got me an axe. That's a young Asmongold. Right at the very beginning of Wrath of the Lich King. I had no idea what the world would have in store for me. I was just a stupid-ass fucking kid. Yeah. I was just a stupid-ass fucking kid. And you know what? Back then, I did actually have hair. I know, it might sound surprising, but there it is. I want to say right here. All that titanium that I had farmed out, I turned into Titan Steel bars, and I was able to make some of the best gear on the entire server on the first week of the expansion release. I had everything ready, everything prepared, and I was already getting perped out on week 1. I was the best geared tank in the guild. And you know what? That's why they invited me to Heroics. As you can see there's ST Pally, all of the other legends of the guild. And we went there, and we completed all of the dungeons, and we did everything that we needed to do together. And we got everything and all of our badges of heroism, and we prepared to go into Naxxramas for me, for the first time as progression, and for some of the people in that guild, they did it back at level 60, and so they're going back to Naxxramas. We went through, and we crafted all of the gear that we needed. We got our Titan Steel armor, and I prepared myself, and sometimes we just barely survived, but we did. Dakina right there. That's Palladini. This was us almost 15 years ago, completing our quests in Heroic Stone Halls. That long ago. And then just a little bit later, after we got just a little bit better gear, we stepped foot into Naxxramas for the first time, and we completed the Arachnid Quarter, and we killed more and more bosses. I don't have screenshots of every single boss kill. Yes, the patchwork kill was a little bit sloppy, but that's what happens whenever you try to do level 80 Nax and level 70 Black Temple gear. It was rough, it really was. But we did what we needed to do, As you guys can see, I still had Berserker's Call from ZA from back in the day. Always dead? Wait, is that... Oh, yeah. The reason why I was dead is because I pulled aggro, and the reason why I pulled aggro is because I'm a god at damage. Like, that's not even my fault, man. That's just me doing me. There's me right there. The big cock king. I looked so fucking good. I looked like a legend. I looked like a fucking wizard. I was so happy with myself. I had my armor. I was taking screenshots of my character left and fucking right. I looked at myself in the mirror and I was like, God damn, I look good. I've got the fucking DPS gear from Nax 10 Man. I've got the axe right there from Halls of Lightning Heroic. That's the Colossal Skullclad Cleaver. It was one of my favorite axe models in the game, even to this day, with my tabard of the Worm Rest Accord, doing Violet Hold, AFKing through it, while other people do the work for me, so I can come back at the end and hit the boss and collect the loot. I did what I needed to do, and that's all I did. And you know what? As time went on, we went through Nax, and we kept progressing through it. Echo right there, if you guys remember Echo, I had a legendary 45-minute arena game against Echo and his druid, with me and my druid. His name was Blackleaf, and his druid's name was Winry. I'll talk about Blackleaf later on. Blackleaf is actually very instrumental in the way that things went for me. Very instrumental. Echo won the 45-minute arena game. But we had mutual respect for each other, and we tanked Naxxramas together as two warriors, going in there and doing what we both needed to do for our guild. God damn, I look good. God. Man, I look so good, man. Fuck, man, I look so good, dude. Oh my god. I look like a legend. And then I've got Namani there as well. Namani, her and I, we hung out all the time. She's a very good friend of mine. I still keep in contact with her to this day. And as you guys can see, she did Naxxramas with us as well. She was a great healer. She was one of our best healers, actually. And we didn't just do Naxxramas. We also did Sartharian. And you know what? In this screenshot, my character's not dead. And we have some of the other legends. Kryptonites right there. The guy who got ATS, who put together the whole raid. ST Pally. And at this point, I forgot to tell you a little bit of a complication. Talib. The leader and the glue that held the guild together. He was the heart and soul of the guild. And it was a soul of toxicity, pure evil, and absolute excellence. He was the most toxic and greatest raid leader I've ever had. I modeled my own raid leading off of him. At the end of Burning Crusade, he quit our guild. After playing with the guild, even through EverQuest, they went from EverQuest and they came into World of Warcraft, and he left the guild for greener pastures because he just wasn't enjoying it anymore. We had lost our leader. I was trying to pick up the pieces, and so were the other people in the guild. Like your Envy, he was the guild master. But we had lost the one person who really held us to the highest standard that we had ever been at. We were doing our best, but without Talib, something was missing. It was not good. But we pursued. We carried on. We did Naxxramas as well. We completed the 4 Horsemen. That's me again. God damn, I look good. Holy damn, God damn, I look so good. I looked amazing. It was crazy. Taliban, he actually had an alt character named Taliban. It was basically, he had 2 B's. He just put AN at the end. It took him years to get that reported. He actually did have a character called, it was his shaman, I believe. So many memories? Yeah. So many, I remember as much as I can. And there we are, for the first time at the very beginning, doing Naxxramas 10-man and finishing the rest of the content and the last 2 bosses. This was the first time I had done this, and we had done Saffron at level 80. It was pretty fucking hard to do. And I also got all of the reputation that I needed as well. Of course I did that. Look, Saffron was pretty hard. We weren't entirely geared. As you guys can see here, we've still got a lot of people there. Look at Spoiled. Look at Namani. These are still people in tier 6. We were attempting this content at the very, very beginning. We were on the bleeding edge as early as that we possibly could. We were going into this raid. And you know what? We had to take a step back, and we had to get a little bit more reputation. We had to do a little bit more stuff. And also, I had to get something that was important for me. I went into Strathloam, and on my first kill at level 80, the first kill, I obtained the Death Charger's reins. I couldn't believe it. I was genuinely in shock. This was the mount that I had wanted for my entire history playing World of Warcraft. This was the one mount that I had wanted above everything else. And I had just gotten it. I was so happy. You guys had no idea. And you know what? I rode it around. Just a minute. Let me go back over here. I rode it around. I told my mom. First run. And you know what she said? Grats. She was happy for me. And I was happy for me too. I took multiple screenshots of my character on this mount. And I want you guys to understand, you're going to see a number of screenshots of my character on this mount. But this is only just a small fraction of the amount of actual screenshots I have of my character riding this mount. I love this mount so much. I was so happy about it. It was the most incredible, amazing thing that I had ever had. I was so happy. But obviously, there were other things that I needed to do. That was my character's armor right there. I guess these guys were fighting, talking shit at each other. I don't really know. Guild chat was always a little bit toxic. That was my character from back in the day. Critical strike chance, 34%. I was dangerous. And my UI, as you guys can see right there, never changed. It's always been the same. No changes, baby. We went back into Naxxramas. And we defeated Saffron. We beat his dick off. We defeated him. For anybody who might have played Wrath of the Lich King, many of you guys might not remember. But whenever you killed Saffron, he dropped a special item that allowed you to access the Malygos lair, the Eye of Eternity. And we took our raid over that day, that very fateful night, and we went up against Malygos. And you know what? We didn't kill him. He was hard. We couldn't figure out the vehicle phase. Nobody had any fucking idea how it worked. We had literally no clue. We only had a few pulls. I remember it was like very, very late at night. People had to go to bed. And I began my quest over here. And this quest right here was for the Scepter of the Shifting Sands. At this point, I wanted to complete the entire Scepter of the Shifting Sands questline. And the reason that I wanted to do that is because I thought to myself that what if there's a bug that accidentally closes the opening of the gates of the AQ gates again, and I can use my scepter and open it again and get my Scarab Lord mount. I thought this could happen. I even thought about transferring to a server that didn't have the gates open just so I could do it myself. And you know what? That didn't happen. But I did do the quest. We did the Culling of Time with some of the best people in the guild. We got the Bronze Drake. I know this might sound surprising to you guys, but many years ago, the Bronze Drake was actually quite prestigious. It was quite special. It was quite important. But there was one thing left that we had to do. And that thing left was to kill Malygos. I went in that night. I was the raid leader of this raid. This was a very big deal for me, because this was the first time that I not only was part of a first kill, but I led the raid to that kill happening. This was a huge, big fucking deal for me. And us getting this getting this title, the Champion of the Frozen Wastes, was huge. Like, my ego, at this point right now, my ego was building to a level that few people don't even know that this exists. I remember whenever we completed this, you know what the first thing that I did was? I went back to Ironforge, and I accidentally linked it into general chat and trade chat. I said, oops, I didn't mean to link that. Everyone was like, yeah, right, you didn't. Did you actually get it? I'm like, yeah, I did. I got it. I've got the title. We were the first people on the server that completed Malygos. We were the first fucking people. Everybody was looking at my title. I was like, yeah, dude, I fucking did it. I was happy. I was at the top of my game. And I took my raid leading skills, and we went around the world, and we took it to the Horde. And we went, and we did for the Alliance. As you guys can see right there, we were probably getting ready to go over to Orgrimmar, or maybe Thunderbluff. I looked so good, dude. Like, God, dude, I was a pimp, man. I was a fucking pimp. No, Magic Seeker, it's 10-man. Malagos 25-man was Magic Seeker. You only got the titles for 25-man. And there's a Horde guild that beat us to 25-man, so it didn't happen. Yeah, Ascent was on our server. Like, Ascent was, like, an incredible guild. Like, a lot of times that we would, Ascent was, like, a tier above us. Like, honestly, like, they rated all the time, and they were really good. So, regardless, though, I was very happy about us getting it. And we were the first people on Alliance to get it. Nobody else had this. I felt really good about it. And there's me. We were riding around. Obviously, everybody waiting behind me. And I was leading the charge, doing what I needed to do as a leader. We also did Orgrimmar as well. And as time went on, we got the Black Warbear. I was very happy about this. It was another successful raid that I had done on my own. It was beautiful. And my ego was becoming a bit of a problem. We invited a random guy to do Karazhan with us because we were trying to do... I want you to understand the relationship between me and Kryptonites. We had a relationship that was built around our mutual obsession of mounts and items in the game. Kryptonites, he and I, agreed together that we would raid and we would do these dungeons with each other for the entire fucking time. And I would do it with him on my alt, he would do it with me on his alt to help each other get the mounts. So Kryptonites were doing this together, and we had this one random guy who didn't even have Wrath of the Lich King because he wanted to fully finish Burning Crusade first. We didn't really know what to say to him. We had no idea what to say. But I screenshotted it because it was so fucking stupid. Yeah, dude. There were some real goofballs back then. I know some people might not believe it, but back in the day, this was a totally different fucking world, man. We helped each other. We sure did. And then also my mom got flying as well. And she took a little picture of her character as well. That's her flying around in Northrend for the first time. There she is. And this right here, I want to go ahead and show this person. This guy's name is Jimbos. Jimbos is a hunter. And Jeffrey begged Jimbos for gold every single day throughout all of Burning Crusade and Wrath of the Lich King. And the worst part about it, Jimbos gave it to him. Jimbos paid for Jeffrey's full, entire epic flying back in Burning Crusade. And he didn't know Jeff, but Jeff would just randomly beg people for gold, and Jimbos was one of those guys. And I saw him whenever my mom was playing, and I made her screenshot it so I would never forget it. I also did all the other mounts as well. I got the white polar bear, of course. I collected all of the mounts that I needed to get. And my guild was building up momentum, building up power, and building up steam. We had many people in here, and we were doing 10-man Nax Ramus. This was still at the very beginning of Wrath of the Lich King. We were working our way up, and as you guys can see, we were almost in full epics. The Big Dick Battlemaster was beginning to rise. The moment was at hand. I was ready, and I was prepared to go into 25-man Nax Ramus. But I also went into Arena. And you know what happened in Arena? I rolled a Death Knight. Because I lost. Faustus was born. I created my Death Knight after queuing a couple of arenas. And I leveled him up all the way to 71 before I just randomly quit playing him. I forgot why. Faustus going into Stormwind for the first time. And I want to show again one more thing. That's me and Kryptonites again together, farming Magister's Terrace 2-man, because we promised each other that we would help each other get the Swift White Hawk Strider together. And it didn't matter which one of us got it first, The other one would come back every day at the end of raid, and we would do it together until both of us had the mount. I got my Argent Crusade reputation finished. I got my title as well. I felt good about myself. And I was so good at the game that I was giving suggestions to Blizzard. I said, should make it to where you can't talk in trade chat for the starter accounts. Because people kept making starter accounts that were free, and they were spamming in trade chat. The Blizzard GM said, that's a very good point, and he put a happy face. And then I put the little cat face as well. He says, that suggestion has actually gone to the developers section. We will see if they implement it. I hope so. And you know what? They did. They did implement it. I would get messages from people all the time. They would say, dude, yes, you pwn, man. I said, haha, thanks, dude. At this point, I was getting used to that. I would just get messages from random people who just saw my gear, and they knew how good I was. They saw my titles, and they recognized a champion. And you know what? They paid their due respects. I took a screenshot right there of the original Death Knight talent tree, because I need you guys to understand, Death Knights at the very beginning of Wrath of the Lich King were some of the most broken and overpowered and fun things to play in the entire history of the game. It was absolutely fucking amazing. I leveled up. I did what I needed to do. And I was playing with the boys. Kryptonite's still playing with him as well. Just hanging out in the party, talking, chilling. Just dudes being guys. Guys being dudes. And I finally entered after I got enough gear. I entered with my 25-man raid. And for the first time, we did ICC. Or not ICC. Naxxramas on 25 men. I saw Mr. Bigglesworth.